In this session, you will see how AI can speed up every step of the product development process, from idea and design to patent checks and even for filing for patents. You will also have a look how a real product was created within hours using AI tools. My guest today is Amy Wies, and before we go to her presentation, I would ask Augustus to introduce the sponsors of Sellerfest Online.
Thank you, Lisette. So let me introduce the sponsors of this session. The first one is VAA Philippines, provides trained e-commerce virtual assistants for Amazon, Walmart, and other e-commerce sellers. VATAi is an international compliance for e-commerce sellers. They provide VAT compliance, EPR services, and much more. Ecomc, it's your global Amazon, Walmart, and TikTok growth expert. Exit.io, it's a platform for Amazon FBA buyers, sellers, and investors. MerchJar is your AI copilot for Amazon advertising. DataHawk is an enterprise-grade analytics for Amazon and Walmart sellers. And last but not least, Optimo AI by Sellerplex, which is your Amazon advertising analyst.
And now I'm excited to bring in Amy, who for me definitely equals with product development. So hi, Amy, how are you doing?
Hi, Lizette. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
Perfect. So you have been on our channel before, and you know that usually we start with a short introduction of you so that people who are watching us would know why you're here today and why we invited you to speak about product development. So please go ahead and share a little bit about you.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Amy Wies. I have been selling online since 2007 when I was in the military and flipping my textbooks. And then in 2017, I invented a product from scratch. And I didn't exactly find as many resources to help me in terms of, I thought I just had to go on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den and then go right to market. And so I ended up figuring all of that out and then helping other people along the way. And that's how Amazing at Home was born. I invented this pet product and grew that brand to over 7 figures, exited last year. And now I help sellers around the world on every step of the process from concept to launch and beyond. I'm an Amazon and TikTok shop partner. And I just love I love learning and sharing and helping people in their journey in e-commerce.
Perfect. Sounds really good. And obviously, as we can already know by the presentation title, you're probably also a big fan of AI and how to make this process of product development even more effective and fast. And we're now ready for your presentation. But before I give you the stage, I wanted to highlight that everyone watching us live, please use your chance to also post questions for Amy to the chat, because if after the presentation, she's going to answer whatever questions you have. And also, if you find the session useful or you get a few good thoughts, definitely like this video and also subscribe to our Orange Klik YouTube channel to see similar videos in the future that will keep you on track when building your Amazon business. So Amy, I think without further ado, let's have your presentation here with us and let's go.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, guys, I am so happy to be here and so happy to be talking about this particular process. As I mentioned earlier in my introduction, I have invented products and I've always had ideas and ran into other people who had ideas for products. But recently, since the growth of AI, I've been able to bring products to market and develop products without necessarily owning that knowledge myself. So this example product I'm going to show you today, I'm actually wearing a t-shirt of it from my recent Alibaba pitch competition. Alibaba Co-Create had an amazing pitch competition, and I was able to pitch this. Out of over 20,000 applicants, I was chosen as one of the 70 semi-finalists with this product. And one of the things that they were looking for was that it was a patented product, that it had some intellectual property, that it had some chops behind it. So that's something you guys might have been playing with AI to develop products and ideate products, but are they actually manufacturable and protectable? And so that's what I'm going to be showing you today. And without further ado, let's get going. So as I mentioned, there's lots of pitch competitions all over, and you can get funding for your ideas. With this particular product, I needed funding. This idea had been on the shelf for a little over a year, and it kept coming up. And I talked to lots of people about it. I'd done lots of research, but I knew that I would need some molds, and I wanted to get some funding. So you can use this process yourself to actually develop products, patent them, and then enter pitch competitions. There's lots of pitch competitions all over, and maybe get some funding to move your idea to market. So for me, the example that I'm going to be using today is a smart coaster that helps you drink more water. So this was my problem that I had. I was not drinking enough water. I'm an entrepreneur. I have ADHD. I have this water cup next to me all day, and I never drink it. So I needed something that changed my behavior. I wanted something that beeped, that actually didn't actually turn off the alarm until I picked up the cup from the coaster. And so that is what I developed with AI. Why did I need AI's help? Number one, I didn't know if this idea was possible. I'm not an electrical engineer or anything like that. How would it work? Is it manufacturable? And I didn't know if it was protectable. Did somebody else already have this idea? Was it worth me spending the time to bring this thing to market? So that's kind of how I looked at it. This was my product pitch focus. The market problem, I validated the market, and I learned that 75% of Americans are not drinking enough water. And the current tools that they have fail due to ignored notifications. And then I also, in my pitch, and this is a tip for you guys, if you're pitching anything and you've already brought products to market, whether they're patented or not, that's part of your success story. So make sure that you include that in your pitch. You include what you've done before. And for me, I brought a pet product to market. I invented and brought a pet product to market, and I included that in my pitch. Even though it didn't have something to do with my smart coaster, I said, hey, I've done this before. I know how to do this. I know how to get this thing on the market. You can bet on me. You can give me some money, right? So that's just a tip for pitching. And we already talked about who am I. This is my website, amazingathome.com. You can get, I have an Ask Amy feature. So if after this, if you don't get your question answered, you can always go right there and click Ask Amy and fill out the little form, and I'll answer your questions. And we also offer copywriting and listing reviews and things like that. So that's just what I do, a little bit more about what I do. Okay, so obviously today when I talked to Lizette and Augustus, I said, okay, I don't have time. This is a 2-hour workshop because I'm showing every prompt, every step in the process. I don't have time to show the whole thing, but I can show some ideas. I can get you on the path. And then if you guys want to join for the whole workshop, it's $99 on my website. So that's easy, right? Plus the VIP members also get the actual guide that I gave the workshop attendees. The VIP members are getting that guide showing all the prompts and everything like that. But today I'm going to show you the process. So whether or not you're a VIP member, if you're just here and you're curious, that's what we're going to cover today. So the goal of our presentation today is to bring your idea to life and protect it. So you're going to do that, number one, using AI tools. So you're going to learn to leverage free and low-cost AI tools to accelerate your product development journey without spending thousands on professional fees. Now this, for me, I would have had to pay an electrical engineer. I would have had to maybe 3D print some things. I would have had to pay a lawyer to do a patent search. I would have had to pay, I didn't pay anybody except for a ChatGPT Pro fee. So I used Manus, ChatGPT, and a few other tools. I also created a commercial for my product using different visuals as well as video tools. So I completely brought this product to life without ever having to physically develop it. So that's what I want to show you, that you're able to do this for just a fraction of the cost of what it used to cost us to bring a product to market. Then secondly, just how do you follow the process? How do you go from idea to design to provisional patent in hours? It took me just a few hours to develop this product from start to finish instead of months or maybe even years before. Then third, this is probably the most important thing. If I could give you guys any tip, it's to think like a product developer. So many sellers come to me with ideas and they are spending thousands on designers and attorneys. And I even have patent attorneys. They send me their clients all the time because clients will come to them and say, I want you to patent this. And they wouldn't really have developed their idea. Maybe it's not manufacturable. Maybe it's not made of the right materials. Maybe they don't even know what materials they need to use. So if I can teach you anything today, it's to think like a product developer. It's to think about, is this product manufacturable? Is it protectable? What is the minimum viable version of this product that I can make? And then finally, just a disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I'm going to be showing you kind of how I did a patent search and filed my own provisional patent today. But that doesn't mean I recommend you skip the attorney, right? I want you to make sure that you still use an attorney. The reason that I knew when I went through this process the first time, I started in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT actually said it gave me the whole process of the patent search. And then it asked me, would you like me to do a patent search for you? And I said, yes, that sounds wonderful. And it came back and said, there's no similar products. There's nothing. You're good to go. No feedback, no research, no work shown, just you're good to go. Now, if I hadn't been an experience, I already have patents. I've helped thousands of people with patents, all of those kinds of things. If I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have known. I would have just blindly trusted ChatGPT and said, oh, this is great. I can move forward. So it's important to understand that if you don't have experience, it's still, AI is always going to act confident. It's always going to tell you, yes, this is perfect. If you don't have experience, then you definitely need to go through an attorney, even for a provisional patent. Or a patent agent is also another option for you. But if you have already patented a product, if you kind of know what a patent looks like, then what this workshop shows you is how to kind of do some you can use multiple different AI tools to cross-reference each other. And that can help you make sure that you're kind of checking AI's work. And that's what I show. I do that between ChatGPT and Manus before I go on to file my provisional patent. But I'm not telling you to skip attorneys. If we have attorneys watching, I love you. You're amazing. I just want people to do their due diligence as well on their own. And this process will show you how, if you were to follow this, you could actually file your own patent from start to finish. Provisional patent, not a non-provisional patent. Provisional patent is the one that basically is not reviewed at all. It's your patent pending status. Okay, so now this is the most important thing, as I've talked about this already. You want to make sure that you're designing, whenever you're coming up with a new product, you want to design for protectability and manufacturability. Both of them are equally important. A lot of people, they'll design a product, then they'll go talk to a patent attorney and say, is this patentable? Why not, during your design process, do a patent search and find out what are the things that are already protected? What are the things that are not protected? When I was going through into developing this smart coaster and I did the patent search, I learned that the behavioral loop that I was trying to use, the behavioral loop where you put the cup down, you set your timer, and the timer doesn't go off until you pick up the cup, that was what was protectable about my invention. It wasn't the coaster itself, because it's just a simple kitchen scale. It only uses an FSR weight technology from a kitchen scale. Somebody's already patented that. That's already on the market. I can't protect that. But what I can do is combine that with this behavioral loop and this special weighted timer functionality, and that's what was protectable. Now, if I had skipped all that, and I didn't look at what was protectable when I was developing this product. And I just, oh, I'm just going to do this. And then I found out, oh, that's not protectable, or, oh, that's not going to work. Now I got to go back to the drawing board and start completely over. So I want you to think about your innovation first. Think about, is it protectable? What's protectable about it? And I know there's several patent attorneys in our space who've taught people how to look at expired patents and things like that to find out, okay, how can I make my product more protectable? Or could I take this expired patent and use it to build a product that would be really protectable? But not only protectable, now let's look on the right side. We want it to be manufacturable. So in the example of my smart coaster here, I used a simple kitchen scale, right? I used this kitchen scale FSR weight technology. The other thing I was thinking of using is the snooze button technology on an alarm clock. But when I was building it out with AI actually recommended the FSR technology because it could be embedded into the coaster. It would be very sleek, very easy. And I wouldn't need to measure how much liquid was in the cup. I just needed to measure if there was weight placed there. So that was really great. So why is that more manufacturable than the snooze button option? Well, kitchen scales already exist. I can easily find a manufacturer of a kitchen scale, and this technology then is very easy to bring to market, and we can just integrate the additional functionality in the buttons on the front of the scale or the smart coaster. So whenever you're manufacturing something, whenever you're inventing something, whenever you're bringing something to market, maybe you're differentiating a product, I always want you to think about what is the minimum viable version of that, and is it manufacturable? I have a client who invented a product for storage for the freezer, and her first idea was going to be a plastic product that required a lot of molds, and that would have been very, very expensive. And we looked at the overall idea and the functionality and what that product needed to do, and we were able to develop it made out of a different material so that we no longer needed molds, and we could bring the idea to market and make sure, and that actually made it more protectable. If she had stuck with the solid plastic option, that was just a basic option. With this other material, we could make this fully collapsible, and therefore it made it even more protectable. It made her patent stronger, and it was even easier to manufacture at lower cost and easier for shipping. All of us Amazon sellers know we want things that fold down and become smaller. So this is the thing. Whenever you guys are using any AI tool to design a product, I want you to think about, is it protectable? Is it manufacturable? Am I using both together? Am I thinking of both during my design process? All right, so here's my own example. This is SipSync. This is my smart coaster, and you can see the patent drawings here on the left. I actually made those utilizing ChatGPT, and I designed this again for protectability and manufacturability. I'm going to show you some of my prompts today. Then I refine the design. So how many of you, I would love to hear in the comments, if you've ever tried to create an image of a product. In the beginning, I thought, okay, this should look really sleek, like a kitchen scale, right? And I asked ChatGPT to make a mock-up of it. Well, it made this mock-up, and I thought, oh man, that looks too much like a kitchen scale. It doesn't look like a coaster. I need it to look like a drink coaster. And then I started prompting ChatGPT. I said, it looks too much like a kitchen scale. I gave it some ideas of how to refine the design. But then what ended up happening is it refined the design, but it removed all the buttons. I needed it to have all of these buttons in my mock-ups. So you guys might have had this problem as well. Well, you're going through this process as well. So in the full workshop, I teach, okay, how do you fix this? But a quick hack for you, if you've ever had a problem where ChatGPT starts hallucinating in your images and you lose that, save the last good image and go back up in your chat and edit the last prompt while it works, and the last prompt that worked before it started hallucinating, and then ask it to like send it down a different path. So I asked it to come up with new ideas. I gave it some images of coasters, like wooden coasters, bamboo coasters, and I asked it to come up with new ideas. I got away from the kitchen scale idea because that was what was causing it to hallucinate. So I went up in my chat, asked it to create ideas based on that. It gave me some ideas. Then I asked it to create the image of those ideas. And I gave it the image of the scale with all of the buttons so that it then was able to develop this image right here. So that's the whole process. First, you're going to ideate and validate. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Then you're going to refine your design. So you might run into problems when you start getting hallucinations. And then you can patent and launch and maybe pitch your idea and visualize it as well. Now in the full workshop, I do show you how to actually create a commercial of the product, and I'll show you what that commercial looks like later on if we have time. But yes. Okay, so let's talk about the process that you're going to follow. The reason that I teach a process instead of just give you a bunch of prompts is because your AI knows you. If myself and Lizette were each to put the same exact prompts into our own AIs, we would get different answers. I never, in any of my AI training, I never just give people I give you the exact prompt, but I'm going to teach you the process, because you can then change that prompt for your AI that knows you. Because if I were to just give you a bunch of prompts, you wouldn't learn the process of how to do this, and you're going to get completely different results than me. And what's the point of me giving you a bunch of prompts for you to create my product when you're trying to create your own? So let's go over the process. The first part of the process is to capture your idea clearly. So you want to define your product's core function and pinpoint the specific problem it solves for users. People buy painkillers. They buy things that stop their pain or help them in a problem in their life. They buy solutions to their problems. So it's really important. I review hundreds of product listings. I love reviewing product listings. I am a copywriter. I love marketing and branding. And when people send me their product listings and they're off, when it's clear they don't know what their customer's problem is, I know that's why they have low sales conversions. If they're just showing a bunch of pictures of features of a product and they don't actually understand their customer, people buying is a psychological decision. So it's very important that you understand your customer's problem and that you are capturing that and sticking to that one problem. You never want to develop a product. I work with a lot of inventors, and they want to make their product good for everyone. They say, oh, it could be good for this person. It could be good for this person. Old people could buy it. Young people could buy it. Women, men. That's the worst mistake you could make. If you try to sell everything to everybody, you're going to sell nothing to nobody. So number one, focus on your problem that you're trying to solve and capture your idea clearly. Second, actually validate that there's an issue. This last weekend, I got the opportunity to sit and have dinner with billionaire Jeff Hoffman, the creator of Booking.com and Priceline.com. And he actually was the inventor of the airport kiosk. And something that he said that he does, he literally goes out. If he thinks of a new problem that he wants to solve, he doesn't sit in the office and sit with AI. He goes out and talks to people having this problem. When he was at the airport, frustrated that he couldn't check in, he had to wait. This was back in the day when there were no kiosks, and he had to wait. He started talking to everyone in line. How big of a problem is this for you? Wow, okay. So actually find out, validate, use tools like PickFu or Product Opinion, and find out, is this an actual problem for people? Then also use AI to validate that. Alibaba has a new tool called Axio, A-C-C-I-O, and it has an agent function. Now, this is an AI tool. It has an agent function, and it will go out and research all of the existing products that are out there, and it will find out what problems those products have, And then it will give you the best opportunities to differentiate. And then it will actually give you suppliers that can develop those products for you or help you with those products. So you can do that with Axio. You can do this with Manus. Manus is one of my favorite AIs, MANUS AI. It has a great agent feature. It's free to use. And I had a client the other day, he wanted to get into cat lady stuff, right? Like he wanted to sell things to cat ladies. So what did we do? We had Manus, we prompted Manus, go out and research all the top Shopify stores selling cat lady stuff. And then go to Amazon, compare their offerings. And oh, by the way, I want to print these things on t-shirts and towels. I have a print on demand business. Find the best ideas, find the best differentiations, and then tell me which ones would be the best for printing on towels. So we got a list of all the Shopify sites, everything. And it's so cool because Manus, actually, you can watch it work. You can watch it go out and search the web, and it will compile really great reports. So that's why I used Manus to do my patent search, because I could watch it work. I had ChatGPT actually write me the prompt for Manus to do the patent search. So validate your market demand. That's step number 2. Then step number 3 is we already talked about design for manufacturability and protectability and marketability. Don't forget about marketability. Make sure you validated your market and that there's enough people trying to solve this problem. Then you're going to run your patent search. So making sure that you have a really in-depth patent search, and you can then, from that patent search, draft your provisional patent application. So you can do this. USPTO has a self-help program where you can file your own provisional patent. Again, I'm not telling you to skip an attorney. If you've never done this before, you should absolutely talk to an attorney or a patent agent to help you with that. But if you have done this before, AI is a great help to do a patent search for you, help you with that, and then you can file your own provisional patent application. And then step 6, creating concept visuals and marketing materials. It's great. Right now, we're in a time where I can create a product, I can visualize it, I can even create videos of it working and take that straight to Kickstarter or my own website and get orders for it before I've even fully developed and launched that product. So I can get pre-orders, I can launch a product, I can test a market. We are in a time where we can do that without ever having to spend a dime with a manufacturer. That is incredible. And then finally, make a commercial video. We're not gonna have time to show you how to do that today, but if you are part of our full workshop, you can do that. All right, so as I mentioned before, you can get the full workshop either on my site under courses, AI workshop idea to patent, and all of our VIPs today will be getting the full guide with all of the prompts and everything. So that is there for you. All right, so let's start out with step number 1. So step number 1 is actually capturing your product idea. We talked about this earlier, and I'm going to show you what my prompts look like. But the goal is to clearly define what problem your product solves and how it works. This foundation guides all of your future development, right? If you're just kind of at the surface level and you're coming up with a bunch of different ideas and you don't go down that rabbit hole, you really want to really go down a rabbit hole with one problem, one product. So then you can use AI to refine your concept. I also like to tell the AI from the beginning that I'm trying to build a protectable product, that I want to design a product with protectability and manufacturability in mind. So I gave it the problem: people don't drink enough water throughout the day. Existing solutions like light up bottles, phone apps, and marked bottles are easily ignored. And my solution was a smart coaster with a built-in timer. When the timer goes off, picking up the cup from the coaster is the only way to turn it off, creating a habit-forming loop. So there's a lot of AI in between there. So a pro tip: if you don't already know the problems or solutions in the market, you can ask AI to help you research them and then go down the rabbit hole. So validating the market, making sure there's demand for your idea. So is this a big enough problem? I had somebody come to me once and they developed an accessory for an Instant Pot, which is the pressure cookers. And this person had spent, I think, over $30,000 developing this particular solution. And I am a regular user of an Instant Pot. I use the Instant Pot several times a week. I love it as a rice cooker. And this client came to me a few years ago and he said, yeah, I developed this product. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but let me just tell you, I didn't even understand it. As somebody who uses an Instant Pot several times a week, I didn't understand what he had created. And the only thing that he explained is that that his family member, one of his family members was doing this, was using this particular accessory, kind of DIYing it. And so he developed this formal accessory that he was going to bring to market. And I said, I don't think this is actually a problem. The thing that he was doing was actually helping, I think, remove the cover or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. But I said, I've never had that problem. I don't know. Maybe you need to go back to the market. He'd already spent $30,000 developing this thing, you guys. He was sure it was a problem because his mom or whoever, his family member, thought that it was a problem. Well, guess what, guys? That's not enough to sell to a huge market. So we need to make sure people are actually searching for what's wrong. Are there blogs being written about it? Are people DIYing it? In a proper patent search, it'll actually show you prior art. So Reddit is a great place for that because people share their DIYs. Someone actually created their own smart coaster. So during my Manus patent search, I learned that people were already trying to solve this problem that I was developing. So that's a great step in validating your market. So you really want to make sure you have a big enough problem size and that the products that are on the market already are not addressing it or are not addressing it enough. Is there room for you? I think someone said if there's 3 products in the market that are heavy hitters, you might have room for 1 more, but any more than that is just very, very difficult. So make sure that this is big enough market size and that there is a competition gap. So current solutions rely on passive notifications, easily ignored, failing to form lasting hydration habits. So that was the thing. For me, current solutions on the market and what people were complaining about did not solve the core problem. They were not hydrating more. It wasn't changing their behavior. So I knew there was a space for my product on the market, and the patent search helped me discover that people were already DIYing this and making their own versions of it. So I knew that other people would want to buy this. There was search volume. There was already a market selling to these people. They just weren't satisfied with the current solutions. So I have a question for you guys. Why would I validate the market after I captured my idea and not before? Why would I validate the market after I captured my idea and not before? Well, I think it's really, really important to understand the problem that you're trying to solve and then validate the market. But remember, I'm designing for manufacturability and protectability. So I'm going to work through my design process, and it's probably going to change how that product looks and acts and is. This is why so many patent attorneys send me their clients, because they're like, this person has not thought all the way through this product, right? So design the product for protectability and manufacturability first, do your patent searches, all of that, then validate, just further validate. It's okay to validate the initial problem, but always go back and validate again, because you might have changed a few things and that might open up new ideas for you. All right, so I'm going to show you a few of my design prompts. And how are we doing on time, Lizette?
All good. You can go ahead, open up. I know you wanted to share or switch your screen to show us the process. So let me know when you're ready, and then we can share your screen again.
Okay, I'm ready.
Perfect.
All right, guys. So I just wanted to show you what was some of my initial prompts. And again, this is not to give you the exact prompt you should use. you can see I've highlighted some things on the screen and added some additional words. I see this is very wordy, but I'm going to walk you through this. This was my initial prompt. I said, hello, I'm an inventor and product developer, and I need help. What is the thing I need help with? Developing a new product idea for, number 2, define the problem and customer avatar. The problem is people don't drink enough water or liquid throughout the day. And then 3, the third part of the prompt, give alternative products and why they're problematic. So this came out of my own problem. So again, understand the customer's problem, say what the problem is, tell your AI, and it doesn't matter which AI you use what you like to use, it's fine. In this case, it was ChatGPT for me. I explained there's bottles that light up, but people just ignore them. There's apps on your phone, but that still requires you to check your phone and drink the water. There are water bottles with lines to remind you to drink more throughout the day, but the problem is people just won't do it. So the fourth part of your prompt, give the features of what you want to create. I want to create a smart coaster with a built-in timer. The idea is that you'd put your cup or bottle on the coaster and push a button to start a timer for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Part 5 of the prompt, tell it, how do you think it would work? Give it some basic ideas. Now, as I mentioned before, that pro tip, if you aren't sure how it would work, say that in your prompt. I'm not sure how this would work. Could you help me come up with some ideas? I had already researched this. I already kind of knew how I wanted it to work. I had looked at similar products, and I really wanted it to have these specific features. But if you aren't sure, then for that part for you, stop your prompt right there and ideate with your AI. And then finally, the 6th part of the prompt, what I needed help with. I need help identifying the most popular intervals at which people should drink water. I also need help understanding how something like this would work. I didn't know how the electronics would work. How can I design it? Can you, and then part 7 of your prompt, ask your product designer questions. So tell it, act as a product designer, and also help me understand how this product would work and how it should work to be the most user-friendly and attractive to the consumer market. So me and ChatGPT went back and forth a whole bunch after that. Like we went back and forth and it gave me all kinds of ideas, and I just kept asking questions. At first I said, I thought about a snooze button, and it gave me the idea of the FSR inside of a kitchen scale. So that was great. And I even asked it, I said, okay, but that's to measure weight, isn't it? How would it work in this instance? And it actually walked me through the function of this FSR and this technology, and it helped me understand how it would work in this case just to detect that there was weight there. And I learned how simple that would be to manufacture. So I just refined. I kept asking questions. I said, I like to drink water at 5-minute intervals. So I think having to set it once and snooze function will work best. So I'm going back and forth. And then the sensor and alarm. Can you explain how a weight or pressure sensor works? I'd like to prototype this function at home so I can understand it. Explain how I could build a prototype of this product using products I can buy at a hardware or hobby store. In my course, Concept to Launch, I teach DIY prototyping. And this is one of the most important things you can do if you're developing a product. So many people go straight to a product designer and go, hey, I want to create this water bottle and I want to put lights on it. Design it for me. But you haven't actually thought through how that would work. Go out and buy a bunch of water bottles, buy some stick-on LED lights, whatever it is, and think through that user process. Think through it, go, okay, well, how would they actually wash this cup then? That might not work. Maybe the lights need to go in the lid. You need to think through this yourself. So it's really important that you prototype some things on your own. I went out and bought a kitchen scale after this. I bought a cheap one on Amazon and brought it to my house, took it apart, bought a few different ones, and just started to understand how does it work. It's not a mandatory step, but if you skip it, it will cost you. I guarantee it. Every single person I've ever helped with product development that has skipped the DIY prototyping process it has cost them tens of thousands of dollars. And just because you hire a product developer, doesn't mean that they understand your customer and your customer's problem. And it also does not mean that they understand how to design a product for manufacturability. So it's really, really important to kind of prototype a product yourself and work through this process. All right, then I also, the main thing, this was for a pitch. I was prepping for a pitch competition, but what I want you to take away from this, so I told it, hey, I'm prepping for a pitch. I want you to kind of help me with this. But the thing I want you to take away from this is that I've given it a roadmap and told it I want to protect this product. I want to file a patent on this product. So in the very beginning of our conversations, I've told it I need this to be protectable. This isn't just another idea. I want to patent it. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, what is the patent search process? Give it to me step by step, in depth. And then that's when it asked me, oh, do you want me to do the patent search process? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, oh, there's nothing similar. Go ahead. And then I said, no, I think there is something similar. So I said, okay, now I want you to write a prompt for Manus to check your work. Tell it if it was a patent, or sorry, not a patent attorney, but tell it if it was a paralegal, how it should do the patent search, what resources and tools and websites it should use step by step. And ChatGPT wrote me this whole prompt for Manus to check its work. And then all I did was copy and paste that into Manus. And I watched Manus go out to every single website, check all the patent databases, everything, do the full write-up. So that's the thing, is you can use AI really creatively, but remember, what I want you to take from this one is, remember during your ideation and design process to tell it that you want it to be protected. Then moving into designing for manufacturing and protectability. So after I did the patent search and understood what was protectable, what wasn't, I also asked it along the way. I said, okay, what about this might be protectable? And I just and what makes it easier to manufacture? It gave me two options, the snooze button option and the FSR option. And I said, which one is easier for manufacturing? Which one is low cost? I want to bring this product to market at about a $40 price point, and I don't want my cost to be more than $10. Which option is better? That really, really helped me along the way. So, and I explained, I want something I can at least design patent. And then I also, asked it for visual prototypes so I could actually look at what it might look like and started working through that. But give it feedback and let it give you a roadmap to moving forward with your ideas so that you understand the best path forward. As far as, again, protecting for or designing for protectability and manufacturability, you can see what I did here. I asked it, I said, okay, well, how can I strengthen my utility patent? And it said, these were some features I could add. And then it said, why does it help patentability and how might it work? And then I also asked, I said, I want this to be low cost. I gave it the whole thing. And it said, okay, if I use the weight sensor, it's going to be $7 to $8, retail price $30 to $40 because it'll be sleeker and look nicer. And the mechanical switch, which was the snooze button, it would be less than $5, but it would be more problematic and people might complain. People were already complaining about the current hydration aids. So I didn't want to be in that market. I wanted something sleek that was going to work for a long time. So, and I saw that I could do that still for $7 or $8, even with the more sleek and modern tech option. I didn't even know that was a possibility when I came up with this idea, you guys. I was thinking snooze button for sure. I went to Canton Fair in China and I found all these kind of snooze button timer products. And I brought them back to kind of prototype with them. Here, this one conversation with ChatGPT opened my mind. Oh my gosh, look at this other technology I could use. It's so sleek. It looks so good, right? And it's just as affordable. And then I gave it pictures. I actually took a picture of the corner of my desk and I said, hey, I kind of want it to look like this. And then I also gave it different ideas I said, I don't want it to just have one annoying alarm. Could we put 5 different alarms in it? You get the idea, right? You can give it design inspiration and then you see here what it popped out. And I was like, ooh, I don't want it to look like that. And then I moved forward and I gave it some other pictures. I went to Amazon and I looked for pictures of coasters and bamboo kitchen scales. And I gave it pictures of this. And I said, I think the glass makes it look a little too much like a kitchen scale and not enough like a beautiful coaster. So I found some of these more modern coasters for inspiration, as well as some wooden scales. I like how the third image looks. It's a coffee scale. And I like how the second image, the wood coaster in the dark circle in the middle looks. I think we could create a beautiful bamboo or wood version like images 3 or 4, but maybe have a logo in the center, like the 5th image. So you can see kind of what I did here. So as I mentioned before, sometimes it'll hallucinate. When I asked it to adjust the original kitchen scale picture with this prompt, it was a mess. It removed all the buttons. It just was kind of like this hodgepodge. It kept making it look like the kitchen glass or the desk glass. I couldn't get it to look like this. So I went back up and edited the previous prompt. I saved the original kitchen scale one to give it for reference. And then I had it move forward with this new idea and got it away from the kitchen scale idea because it was already there. I got it away from the desk glass idea because it just wouldn't let go of that. So the easy fix, whenever you're using AI and it starts hallucinating, just scroll up, edit the previous prompt where it was working well, and it will continue from there. It's like resetting the memory. So then finally, I did the provisional patent process. So I asked it what a patent search process looks like. And now this is a pro tip for AI, you guys. Whenever you're using AI, you can ask it to explain a process to you before you ask it to do that process. I often do this for example, the visualizations of the product. I say, describe what this might look like. Describe it in depth, including the materials, right? And then when it describes it, I go, okay, now create an image of option 3. And the images are great. You're like building your own prompts for images. So same thing here. Before I did the patent search, I said, okay, well, how would I do a patent search for this? If I wanted to do it, how would I do it? And it explained, it said, you got to search all these databases. You need to do this. You need to do that. And it gave me web links, everything. And then it asked, would you like me to do it for you? And this is what it came back with. Excellent news. No existing patents or documents were found in the database that match your key features and behavioral loop. This doesn't guarantee no prior art exists elsewhere, but it strongly suggests that there are no directly similar patented products. This was wrong, because then when I asked it to create a prompt for Manus to check its work, Manus found all sorts of stuff, but it was still patentable, still protectable. So just make sure that you're double checking your AI. So anytime that AI gives you an answer with confidence, a pro tip is ask it what the process is, then have it run the process or have it create that image that it just described, and then have it create a prompt for another AI to check its work. So in the full workshop, I show you like the whole prompt that I used and then what Manus did, but it is just really crazy. You can't always trust your AI, but it is a great, great tool to use. So I actually was able to fully have Manus draft up the patent. I had ChatGPT draft the patent. I had Manus then take that, and ChatGPT actually made the drawings as well. I had Manus do the patent search based on ChatGPT's prompt. And then I had ChatGPT draft up I gave ChatGPT Manus's patent search results and asked it to draft up the patent. But it did a terrible job of drafting up the patent. It used language that was really bad. It said things that used the brand name. The SipSync might not be the final brand name, right? I haven't trademarked that. It actually used that in the patent documentation. You never use a brand name in patent documentation. So you want to keep things broad. So the language was not broad at all. It didn't give any of the claims. It didn't list the claims out. It also did not give kind of figures for each of the drawings. So I knew it was wrong based on my own experience. And so then I took that draft from ChatGPT and I put that back into Manus and said, check this. And I had ChatGPT give me a prompt for Manus. And Manus actually wrote my final patent application based on that, in that same conversation that it had done the patent search. And I read through it again and again and again, and I could not find any issues. I asked it questions. I said, okay, I want you to check it from here. I started a new conversation and asked it to check it, and it did a great job. But had I not had this experience of having several patents, helping people with product development, working with lots of patent attorneys over the years, if I didn't know the process and I just did this on my own, I would have definitely filed something that wasn't protectable, that wasn't properly researched, that maybe when it is finally reviewed, when I did my non-provisional patent, that it wouldn't stand up against a competitor. So that is just a really important thing to keep in mind. So this is our full workshop for those of you who have, and you guys can see my little video here that I created with AI to show the product working. And you can see I created all of that with Google VEO, but our full workshop is out there on the website. And then those VIP members actually get the guide from the workshop. And you guys, this is a huge guide. It shows you all the prompts, everything. So I hope you VIP members take advantage of that. And I hope you guys have learned something today from this process.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's evident that you're super, super passionate about developing products and all this process. How do you personally feel the fact that we have now AI and these tools? Do you also feel it's more fun to develop products because you were also doing that already before we had all of those fun things? Or do you feel that sometimes it's taking like your focus away a little bit?
I think it's a blend. You know, I love it because I can develop things that I have never dreamed of being able to develop. I now have experts in my corner and access to expertise that I didn't, it's not that I didn't have access to it, but maybe I couldn't afford it to that level before, right? So it's just really, really incredible what you can do. But at the same time, too, to your point, you do need to remain focused. The reason that I brought up this product and actually took a few hours to develop it is because it had been on the shelf for a few years. It had been something in the kind of the back of my mind, and I had other business ventures that were, you know, producing my income and that I was mainly focused on. So when this pitch competition came up, I thought, well, this is a great opportunity. So can you imagine preparing for a pitch competition in a few hours with a product like this and actually filing your own patent in a few years ago?
Crazy.
There's no way we would have been able to do this a few years ago. So yeah, I think it's a huge win for people. But you still do have to be careful. Can't always trust the AI, right? It doesn't mean you can just ignore the experts, because if you're not very familiar with the process, right? But it definitely presents opportunities that we have never seen in our time. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, very cool. And also all of these insights you shared, like how the process went and everything. It was so interesting to listen. And for a few times, you also mentioned the VIP session. So I really wanted to quickly highlight that for all of the Sellerfest online participants, you have the chance to get the VIP package. This is additional advanced sessions, which are not available anywhere else than when you get this package. And you will have different sessions from the experts of Sellerfest Online, and you will also have 2 different bonuses. So I'm going to introduce the bonuses first, and then I ask Amy to introduce her advanced session as well. So the first bonus material you will get when you get this VIP package is that you're going to get recordings from the European Seller Conference 2024, which is the main physical event Orange Klik is organizing. So you will get access to all of the speaker presentations, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And the second bonus material comes from Brandon Young. So you will receive an exclusive masterclass about product discovery, validation, and also AI design challenge. I think it has about 30 different sessions, so definitely worth it. And as I said, all of our experts also recorded additional videos, including Amy. And Amy, could you share just briefly what exactly, like you mentioned before, these are AI prompts now, but I'm not going to show them everything, but let's just give them a little sneak peek.
Yeah, so I think one of the big things that you get here during my workshop, I created a huge guide that basically walks you through each step, and then it gives you a prompt for that step. So we kind of covered it today. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're actually showing kind of the whole.
Just a sneak peek what they will get, but we're not going to reveal
you can see how
anything
big
else.
that document is. It literally walks you through every step and then gives you prompts along the way that you can use to run everything in depth. So today I showed you a highlight of the process and I gave you some ideas, but this actually dives into each step and gives you those pro tips. And it's the full guide that all of our workshop attendees get. Yeah, so really cool.
Thank you so much. And we're going to have the link to the VIP package down in the video description below, so you can get it. And now, Amy, I would like to ask you a few questions about your topic as well. So the first question would be, what's the best way to protect products which are design-based, as it's not possible to get a patent and Chinese competitors are quick to copy the same design and launch it at a cheaper price?
So it's really hard to protect these products. The best way to protect is to build a brand. So the thing is, if you're going to try and just compete with the Chinese, they're going to, I speak at a lot of Chinese seller events, and I can tell you, they don't care if they lose money. They are all about, in the beginning, they just want to get that product launched. They want as many reviews as possible. They want as much sales as possible, and they're willing to invest to get it. So I think you need to change your business model. If you are you can do copyrights. Copyrights can be very, very effective if you have a design that really, really speaks to a specific audience. But the only way that I've seen people successfully compete with the Chinese is when they have a bunch of brand ambassadors, like across TikTok, saying, you have to have this brand. You got to have this brand. This is the only brand. They feel connected to your brand. There's an emotional connection. If you'd like me to take a look at your product, you can go to amazingathome.com and underneath services, click on free listing review. And you can give me your product. Now, I will tell you if there's anything you could do. But in many cases, it's to change your business model.
Okay, good point. And then another one for you would be, can I protect my product if it has already been launched on Amazon?
Oh, geez. Well, I think in some cases you can. That is a question for a patent agent or a patent attorney. I have neither of those. So I think it just depends on how long it's been since you've launched. And sometimes if there is you might be testing like the minimum viable version of your product, right? You might have launched it, put it on Amazon, and now you're getting some feedback, and maybe you're going to change it one more time. You're going to have an iteration of that. Then you may be able to, I believe you have like a year time period. Don't quote me on that. Again, talk to an attorney, patent attorney, or somebody who can help you with that. Ask AI about that, about those rules. Ask it to search the USPTO self-help system for that. But also, if you didn't protect it to begin with, and now you've got product feedback, and let's say you're beyond the time frame when you can protect it, but you've got some product feedback, now you can run through this process that I've taught you today to further your design for protectability and manufacturability, and you can come up with something really, really great that really solves a problem and that you're going to have raving fans and is protectable. So then you can protect your iteration.
Cool. Very nice. Thank you very much, Amy, for sharing everything you know. And again, thank you so much for preparing this presentation for us and also for putting together the VIP session. I'm sure those prompts will be super helpful as well. So thank you again. And I hope to see you soon on Orange Klik YouTube channel.
Thank you, Lizette. Thanks, everybody.
And now I would like to invite you to watch another session where you will learn how to de-risk your Amazon product launches.